Hello. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the November 13th Clayton City Council meeting. Welcome, everyone. We know we have a full house, so we're going to call the meeting to order, do a roll call, pledge of allegiance, and then we'll get right to do the right thing. Okay? City Clerk?
Thank you,
Roll
Mayor.
call.
Councilmember Diaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman.
Here.
Councilmember Ania.
Here.
Vice Mayor Juan. Mayor Trupiano.
I'm here.
For the record, Vice Mayor Juan is absent, and we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. And if everyone will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job, everybody. That was a rousing Pledge of Allegiance. And we're going to adjust the agenda a little bit here. And we're going to wait on public comment on non-agenda items and consent calendar. And we're going to go right to recognitions and presentations. And we're going to start with Councilmember Tillman doing the awards for Do the Right Thing Responsibility first. Take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Trupiano. Good evening, everyone. It is amazing to see this hall, Hoyer Hall, so filled and to have all of you sitting right down in front of us. We are going to try to make this as efficient as possible, but allow for the family members who have come out tonight to take time to get a photo of your student getting their award. But we want to invite, this time we're going to invite Diablo View Middle School up to go first. And I think I'm going to switch it up just a little bit and do both responsibility and respect at the same time. That way you don't have to come back and forth. Is that fine? We made a maze for ourselves. I like it. I'm going to give that one to you. Do you want to come back here a little bit? That way you can see. You look beautiful. We want everybody to see you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Vicki Wilson. I get the distinct privilege of being the principal at Diablo View Middle School. And this evening, we are going to recognize 6 amazing students at our school for the 2 different traits. We are going to start with
Responsibility.
responsibility first. So first up is Sienna Curie. Sienna was nominated by Miss Flores, who says, Sienna is a dependable, hardworking student who stays on tasks and sets a strong example for her peers. She is respectful to everyone and consistently brings a positive attitude. Congratulations, Sienna. Does she want to go? Yeah, I know. Next up is Jevi Sinarath. Oh, so close. Congratulations, Jevi. You're welcome. Congratulations, buddy. Jevi was nominated by Mrs. Brewington, who says Jevi is a kind young student who sets high expectations for himself. While maintaining an excellent work ethic and grades, Jevi is also a leader on campus through his leadership class. If he must take time in class to do other commitments, Jevi always moves back into classroom with ease. He is aware of how to access the curriculum without needing any direction from me. Jevi is also supportive of peers around him, and Jevi is an excellent student. And I just have to say, he's an amazing chess player, too. So.
Ooh, congratulations. Congratulations. Good job, Jevi.
All right. Next up is Charlie Moore. Charlie was nominated by Mrs. Plutz, who says Charlie is well deserving of this award for responsibility. He could actually win any of the Do the Right Thing awards because he fits all of the categories. Charlie is a hardworking and self-aware student who is focused on his responsibilities as a student. His work is thorough, timely, and meticulously completed. He is honest and takes accountability for his actions. On a side note, Charlie is also responsible for letting me know the scores to any NFL game and who did well and who didn't. He always tells me about his beloved Minnesota Vikings. We won't hold that against you, though. All right. Next up is respect. Are we starting with Lael? Yeah. All right. First up is Lael Abu. I don't know if I see her. Lael, are you here? She's coming. She's coming. Come on up. Congratulations, Lael. So Lael was chosen by Miss Ayala, who says, I chose Lael for being a respectful sixth grader because she consistently demonstrates kindness, maturity, and thoughtfulness in everything she does. She communicates with others in a polite and considerate way, always using respectful language and listening attentively to others. Lael works well with all of her peers and makes sure everyone feels included during group activities. She is also quick to offer help to others and shows genuine care for her classmates. In addition, she always uses good manners and sets a positive example for those around her. Lael's respectful attitude makes our classroom a better and more welcoming place for everyone. Congratulations. All right, next up is Laurel Beatty. Come on up. I know I saw her. There she is. There she is. I was going to say, I knew I saw her. All right, come on up, Laurel. Laurel was also nominated by Miss Brewington, who says Laurel is such a kind young student. She has the ability to be in a very busy classroom with many moving parts and is still respectful of the lesson being taught and of the teacher's efforts in the classroom as well. Laurel will help her classmates that might struggle with science concepts and helps to create a respectful atmosphere in the classroom always. So congratulations. Last but not least, Henry Massey. Henry was also nominated by Mrs. Plutz. Boy, I tell you, Miss Brewington, Miss Plutz won the jackpot this month. All right. Who says that Henry has excellent qualities and respect, and that is just a few of them. He has respect for his peers, teachers, and his own education. He's a leadership student as well, and he is respectful of the time he may miss in class because of extra duties. He is polite, punctual, and a good listener to all. He made a goal in the beginning of the year to speak more with confidence, which shows he has respect for himself too. He has a goal to become a better soccer player and apply to Cal to further his education. Congratulations. You're welcome.
All right. All right, Vice Principal Roma, are you ready? It's going to be like a let's sprint.
We're sprinting. We're gonna yes. Oh, don't sprint. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Yeah, some of my teachers are here. Yeah. Fabulous. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm the vice principal at Mount Diablo Elementary School, and this is one of my favorite things to do every month. We have a ton of kids being recognized, but the first character trait is responsibility, and I first want to recognize Lucas in Miss Lovejoy's class. Miss Lovejoy says, Lucas demonstrates exceptional responsibility every day in our kindergarten classroom. His careful attention to our routines shows true leadership. Lucas serves as a wonderful role model for his classmates, showing that responsibility means taking care of our shared space and respecting his peers. I have enjoyed welcoming Lucas into our classroom community this year, and I am proud to nominate Lucas with this well-deserved responsibility award for his outstanding contributions to our kindergarten family. Congratulations. Stay here. We're going to take a picture. Wow. Good job, Lucas. Oh, nice. I don't think Miss Cheska's here. Next, I'm going to bring up Abon, who is in Miss Cheska's 5th grade classroom. If he can make his way up here. Abon's teacher said he is a responsible student who consistently completes his work on time and often exceeds expectations in his assignments. His willingness to assist classmates in need showcases his strong sense of community and teamwork, making him a valued member of the classroom. Abon is a kind and well-liked student and always does the right thing. Awesome. Next, I have Reese O'Connor, who's in Miss Brown's class. So I'm going to bring Miss Brown up and Miss Reese up here. You stand right here.
Hi, Holly. Hi. How are you? Good. How are you? Good. Good. I'm going to. Do you want me to squish? Squish. Hi, Reese. Okay. Oh yeah. Give your. You look so nice. Okay. Reese consistently demonstrates a high level of responsibility in completing assignments, managing deadlines, and taking ownership of her learning. Reese is a very conscientious learner who completes her work with pride and sets a strong example for her peers. We can always count on Reese to come prepared, stay focused, and model leadership and group activities. Reese is a dream student. Congratulations, Reese.
All right, next up we have Rosalie, and Miss Carcamo is here to present that to Miss Rosalie. She's in 4th grade.
My name's Mrs. Carcamo, and I have the pleasure of having Rosalie Svetovac in my classroom this year. And Rosalie has earned the award of responsibility. When I met Rosalie, I thought, well, that is a cute little button. But what I wasn't prepared for was just how incredibly responsible she is. In 4th grade, it's a big leap. The kids are really asked to develop a sense of self-motivation, and Rosalie steps up to the plate. Anytime she's going to miss a little bit of school, maybe for an appointment, she comes, she checks with me, she makes sure she has everything she needs. Have you missed any assignments this year? No. Yeah. So there's nothing getting in this little button's way. So congratulations, dear.
Thanks, Miss Carcamo. All right, next up we have Chloe White, who's in Miss Osterkamp's class. She's also in 4th grade, and her teacher said Chloe consistently demonstrates responsibility both inside and outside of the classroom. She completes assignments one time, comes prepared to class, and seeks clarification when she does not understand a concept. Chloe reads carefully and contributes thoughtfully to discussions. Her work reflects attention to detail and a willingness to go beyond minimum expectations. Beyond her responsibilities with academics, Chloe is a positive presence among her peers. She models respectful behavior and inclusivity on the playground. Chloe stands out as a reliable, thoughtful leader. Congratulations. All right, next up we have Emily, and we have Miss Wacko here to present your award, Emily.
That's great. Put on that proud smile. I am very proud of Emily, and in fact, she is our super responsible student in room 9. She shows responsibility in all of her learning, both in academics and in life skill, and goes the extra step to make sure that she is challenging herself and learning as much as she possibly can, as well as always producing her very best work. She also is aware and notices when things around the classroom or other classmates need help, and she is ready to jump in and help. So congratulations on being a super responsible student. Proud of you.
Smile at the camera.
Smile. Perfect. Great job.
Mom, you got it?
Okay.
Okay, all right.
All right, next up we have, Antonio, who is in 3rd grade in Miss Ill's class. There he is. Awesome. There you go. Miss Ill says, Antonio shows responsibility at MDE. He does what he is supposed to do. He takes ownership in his actions, and he is a reliable student and classmate. Antonio consistently finishes his work, respects others, and follows the school rules. It is a pleasure having Antonio in my class. Congratulations. Congrats, Antonio. All right, and last but not least is Emmerich, who's in 2nd grade. Come on up, Emmerich. And Miss Sanso is here to present your award for you. Got lots of teachers here.
Right, no problem. Okay. Emmerich is a kind and helpful, responsible student. He shows responsibility every day in coming to school on time, prepared, and ready to learn. He puts forth excellent effort in his classwork and homework. He contributes positively to our classroom community by following the rules, helping with classroom jobs, setting a model example for other students. He's a great friend, helpful, and a pleasure to have in class. Great job, Emmerich.
Next up is this working? Can you guys hear me out of this one? Oh, sounds like nothing's coming up. Yeah, is respect. And
Perfect. And our first one up is Emmy Rasmussen, who's in Miss Fail's 4th grade class. There you are. She's looking for you over there. And Miss Fail had this to say about Emmy. Thank you for being such a wonderful role model, Emmy. Your kindness and respect towards your peers and adults truly make a positive impact in our classroom. It's inspiring to see how you treat everyone with such thoughtfulness and consideration in group and partner work. You always talk with kindness in your voice and listen to those around you in an open and honest manner. Congratulations. Stay here and take a picture. All right, Emmy, congrats. Yeah. All right, next up is Emma Siri, who's also in Miss Phil's class. And Miss Phil had this to say about Emma. Thank you, Emma, for being such a wonderful role model in kindness and respect. Your ability to consider others' thoughts and feelings while working in groups truly creates a positive atmosphere in our classroom. Your kind manner inspires everyone around you, and it's a joy to see how you uplift your peers with your positive attitude and encouragement. Keep being kind and respectful in all that you do. Congratulations. Perfect. Congrats, Emma. Yep, you can go. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Dad. All right, next I have Catalina, who's in Miss Lovejoy's kindergarten class. Come on up, my love. She's got, I know, right? Miss Lovejoy says that she is privileged to nominate Catalina for the Do the Right Thing Award in the category of respect. Catalina consistently makes the right choices. I can rely on her to follow instructions and listen attentively. When she sees someone struggling, she often offers help with kindness. She is observant and aware of our learning and classroom activities. Catalina is someone we can always depend on to complete tasks effectively. All right, next we have Aria, who's in Miss Cheska's 5th grade class. Is Aria here? Yay, there she is. There she is. Come on up, Aria. All right, Miss Cheska says, Arya is a respectful student who consistently demonstrates kindness towards her classmates and adults on campus. She always utilizes her manners and follows the golden rule, creating a positive and welcoming environment in the classroom. Her respectful behavior and consideration for others greatly contribute to her success and the overall classroom environment. Thank you, Arya. All right, next we have Riley, who Miss Carcamo is going to come up. Is Riley here? There she is. She's in 4th grade.
I have the pleasure to award another fantastic student of mine, and this is Riley. Riley is incredibly respectful. She's respectful with adults. I can pair her with any student in the class, and she approaches situations with kindness. She comes to school with a great attitude. She often stays after school and will put up chairs or just do any little thing that needs to be done. And then she looks me in the eye and she says, thank you. So it's pretty sweet. Yeah. So congratulations.
All right. Next we have Ismael, who's in Miss Brown's 3rd grade class. Yeah, you're just here. There it is. Turn and shake your face.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay. Yes. Looking good, Ismael. Looking good. Okay. Ismael shows respect in both his words and his actions. He listens carefully, he follows directions, and he contributes thoughtfully to classroom discussions. Ismael, we can always count on you to be polite, considerate, and kind. He always shows respect to his classmates and for our classroom routines. He consistently helps his peers and contributes positively to our learning community. Ismael is a reliable and valued student. We are so lucky to know Ismael. Good job, Ismael.
All right, next we have Gunner, who's in Miss Osterkam's 4th grade class.
Congratulations. I like how you clap for yourself. That was awesome. You're welcome.
Right now. Do you want me to start over, or are you good? All right. Gunner is consistently respectful and polite to his classmates, parents, teachers, and staff. He models appropriate behavior for his peers in the classroom. During class discussions, Gunner listens attentively to others and offers kind feedback. His respectful manner helps to create a classroom atmosphere in which all students feel safe to participate. When conflicts arise at recess during group play, Gunner suggests practical compromises and helps the group focus on shared goals. Gunner exhibits the trait of respectfulness, contributing positively to our MDE campus. Congratulations. All right. Thanks, Gunner. All right, I promise we're almost done. Next we have Zane, who's in Miss Ill's 3rd grade class. There you are. Congrats, Zane. Miss Ill says Zane is a perfect example of a respectful 3rd grader. Zane listens to directions at all times. He is quiet when needed in the classroom and in the hallways. Zane has respect for his classmates. He is a good sport and always kind and helpful to others. It is a privilege to have a student like Zane in my class. Congratulations. Perfect. All right, next we have Parker, who's in Miss Huaco's 1st grade class. Oh, there you are, Parker.
Congratulations, Parker. That smile says it all. All right. I was just noticing that smile says it all. Parker is respectful and polite, always using kind words. He responds positively to any requests with a smile and is willing to work hard. He is also a great friend who plays fair and is always there doing the right thing and being kind. So I really appreciate that smile and the positive attitude and spreading kindness and respect and joy in our classroom every day.
Oh, Parker, wait. All right, next we have Julia, who's also in Miss Sanso's second grade class.
Don't have enough hands. Congratulations. I'll give it to her.
Okay. Julia is friendly, kind, and helpful student. Okay. Julia is a friendly, kind, and helpful student. Julia shows respect daily in the classroom and on the playground. She listens attentively when others are talking, and she uses kind words when speaking. She helps take care of our classroom, follows classroom rules, and shows consideration for others' feelings. Julia shows respect with her classmates by sharing supplies, taking turns, and helping out whenever needed. She's a pleasure to have in class and an excellent role model. Great job, Julia.
All right, next one is Millie, who's in Miss Grisbo's third grade class. She popped up right.
Okay. I have had the pleasure of knowing Millie since she was about 2. And this year she found her way to me in my class. And I wanted everyone to know that Millie is an example of respect to all around her. She treats everyone around with kindness and fairness, and her classmates feel very comfortable around her. Millie listens carefully to what others are saying and appreciates others' inputs and point of view. Millie follows school and classroom rules and procedures and comes to class ready to learn. She is a delight to have in class, and I am so fortunate to be her teacher. That's yours.
Congratulations again to all of the students. Next up, we are going to have our Unsung Hero Award, and we would love if everyone would stay to watch this. I promise. It's only a short period of time. But we would love for you to see what other awards we give out in the community, and I will now turn it over to Mayor Trupiano.
Thank you, Councilmember Chelman, and thank you all for hanging in there just a few more minutes. Each month, we've been awarding an unsung hero, which is sometimes an individual or it's a group. In this case, it's my distinct honor and privilege to announce the unsung hero of the month for the month of October is Clayton Valley Village. Just a little background. In 2016, Clayton Valley Village was established as an entirely volunteer-driven nonprofit organization created to meet the needs of Clayton's growing senior population, which represents about 35% of our city's population. In 2017, Clayton Valley Village began serving its first members, enabling them to remain active and independent in their own homes. This organization serves as Clayton's own community senior center, being we don't have one of our own, and today is providing services to 91 members with 74 volunteers, and they are always looking for new volunteers. My husband and I are proud volunteers ourselves since 2022. Clayton Valley Village, like the more than 350 villages nationwide, is a membership-based organization that provides transportation help, handyman assistance, from changing light bulbs to computer assistance, as well as a number of social activities like birthday parties, game nights, lunch dates, hikes, and movie outings, to name a few. These tasks are carried out by Clayton Valley Village's network of screened volunteers and seniors working together using resources and personal talents that we have right here in our own community. For many, a life-changing event such as an illness or a single accident can create the need for some assistance. And often, seniors have difficulty driving or completing basic household tasks. And this becomes an issue resulting often in isolation and a lack of companionship. So for seniors who want to stay happily in their own homes for as long as possible, these member services are invaluable. For volunteers, it's a wonderful way to help your neighbors get to know new people, and participate in fun events. This is why we are especially thankful that Clayton Valley Village steps up to care for our very own seniors each and every day, many of whom have lived here and raised their families for a very long time. Thank you, Clayton Valley Village, for being such an important part of our community and for all you do for seniors and their families. Thank you. We'd love for you to say a few words, and then we want to do some photos. Marilyn, would you like to say a few words first? Sure. We'll give you the microphone.
We're always looking for volunteers, so and members. So please check us out. We've answered 618 requests this year. We've put in 1,150 miles, and our finished requests and 7,000 miles. So we're busy. We can always use more help. And would my past presidents and present board please stand up?
And we'd love for anyone else from the village to come up. We'd love to do a photo opportunity. Come on up. Now's the opportunity to do that. If anybody else wants to say a few words, thank you very much for being here. And council, do we want to take a photo with the village? Let's do it. Okay, we're going to take a little break, couple of minutes. As I get undressed. Woo! Do you go to any of their events, Jim?
I'm going to have them take me to the doctor. Will they take me to the Clayton Club?
Yes.
Recording stopped.
At the Clayton Club once a year. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone, welcome back to our meeting and that little break that we had. We're going to get back to our regular agenda, And we're going to go with item number 3, which is our public comment on non-agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to comment? I'm looking at one person. No comments on public agenda items. Then I will close that item.
Mayor, I did want to mention that you did receive a packet of public comment for this meeting, and it's in the back too. I think some of you guys already picked up the packet. Some of you guys have it at the dais.
With public comment?
It was a thick packet that was submitted. Most of you guys picked it up in your at the office, and then there's a copy in the back as well.
Okay.
So just want to.
Okay. Well, I guess we can grab it at the next. Yeah. Thank you, Leticia. And we will then move on to item number 4, which is the consent calendar. And is there any item that council would like to pull or has questions about? No? Then I'll ask for a motion.
Move. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
Councilmember Diaz? Yes. Councilmember Tillman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ainea?
Yes.
Mayor Trupiano?
Yes.
The ayes have it, and the vote passes with the vote of 4-0 with Vice Mayor Juan absent.
Thank you, Leticia. And we will then move back to item number 5, recognition and presentations. And I believe our police chief will be presenting, doing a presentation regarding military equipment use. Chief, take it away.
All right, good evening. Mayor, council, staff, and public, thank you for having me here this evening. This evening we're going to do a short presentation on use of military use equipment under AB 481, specifically UAS systems, which are drones. The reason we're bringing this before council is we're bringing it forward as a presentation under AB 481 and our policy 710 regarding military use policy. There's a requirement that any equipment that it falls under this definition, which a UAS program, drones, would fall under that requirement, that the council be informed of any intent to research or pursue that technology. So today is an informal information presentation just to bring the council up to speed on where we're at in that process. And as I'll explain later in the presentation, there'll be a time that it'll be brought before council for approval to officially move forward. Next slide, please. So the city of Clayton presents some unique challenges. I just want to speak to, okay, well, why are we even pursuing a UAS program? The geography of Clayton and where we're located in the county presents some unique challenges. One is the amount of open space that we have around and within the city. As you can see in the presentation, there's 27 miles of trails and over 515 acres of open space. We have direct links to Mount Diablo Park as well as East Bay Regional Park trails. We are adjacent to a large portion of rural Contra Costa County, particularly out Marsh Creek Road. We also host a lot of events each year, and that's wonderful. And we have a historic downtown that is typically the central hub for that. And so I'll explain a little bit later as to why that's important regarding a UAS program. Next slide, please. So how does Clayton Police Department fit in this? So as you know, most of you know, we are the municipal police department for the city of Clayton. That's obvious. But our responsibilities not only are directly for Clayton, but we are also a regional asset. We are the primary responder for, obviously, law enforcement calls for service and emergencies, natural disasters, critical and mass casualty incidents, as well as large event planning, safety, and response. But we're often first on scene for fire and medical incidents, whether those incidents are taking place immediately within the city of Clayton or immediately adjacent to in the county area. We're geographically regional emergencies. If something were to happen out in the county area at one of the parks, we're typically going to be the first responding agency, although we would not have primary responsibility. And that carries over into East Bay Regional Parks and Mount Diablo. Next slide, please. So prevention and response. So why drones? Why a UAS program? So we will be looking at two specific technologies within the drone space. One will be a tethered drone. These drones are designed to have sustained overhead view. They can fly indefinitely, and they're exceptional at analyzing and providing information at fixed points. This is something that you would see at like an event or a large crime scene. These are tethered to a base. They can be launched either from a vehicle, from essentially a suitcase, or on some type of portable platform. They can run off direct power, so therefore they can run indefinitely, or they can run off backup support batteries. Then also we'd be looking at free flight drones. These are more tailored for search and rescue, where we have to travel some distance or we need to cover a large area, where we need to change in elevation in order to get vantage points. They're fantastic in disaster type environments, search and rescue, missing persons, people that are wanted or fleeing, the free flight drone. So both technologies go hand in hand, work hand in hand. They essentially provide the same type of information, but how they provide that information is different. Next slide, please. So how this fits into public safety. So under AB 481 and under our policy, the equipment has to have a specific purpose, and that specific purpose can only be met and satisfied by that piece of equipment at a reasonable level. So here's just illustrates some of the areas that have a UAS program addresses. They're excellent for security checks, area searches, crime scene analysis, search and rescue, tactical situations, fleeing suspects, and for training. This allows the police department to have eyes in the sky, and even broader than that, it allows our partners or our regional partners that we would work with to provide that capability to them, and it allows us to do it in an economical way. It also provides increased safety for our officers. If we get a report of something that's occurring in our city, such as our parks or something like that, this allows us to get eyes on the situation ahead of time to see what is happening. To give you a little bit of background, at previous jurisdiction, I initiated our drone UAS program. I had the privilege of starting that from the ground up. We were a smaller department surrounded by larger departments at that time. And we purchased 2 drones, had several pilots that we trained for that. And given the communities that were adjacent to us, our anticipation was that we would primarily be using it for us, being that we had much larger jurisdictions that had very robust UAS programs. When I completed the annual report a year after our UAS program, I think we had around 25 deployments of our UAS platform, and I believe 19 of those were for allied jurisdictions, where we were able to provide an asset that they could not provide. And so not only was that a point of pride for our agency and our city that we could directly support other agencies, but it also provided an asset that previously we would not have been able to deploy, and that was a huge win for the city and for the police department. Next slide, please. So compliance and oversight. So as I mentioned before, the UAS program would fall under AB 481, which is military use equipment. In 2022, the city adopted City Ordinance 495, which approved the use of military equipment under those guidelines. It also requires ultimate council or approval by council. It requires an annual report by the police department. It's highly transparent. It's operated under our current policy. and it's established by or establishment of Clayton PD policy for UAS. So in addition to our existing military use policy, we would also develop a policy specifically for the use of this equipment due to it being so specialized. So how would we acquire this? So we are currently we'll be submitting the Homeland Security Grant for 2026. 100% of this asset would be paid for through this grant on a reimbursement basis, as this department has done previously for other pieces of equipment. Typically paid through surplus and then reimbursed within that timeline. So what does the timeline look like? So December 26th, we will be presenting to the county. In early, there's a typo there, my apologies, December 25. This is a long timeline, but it's not that long. Early. Yeah. So we're gonna go into the future, and then we're gonna come back. In early 26, we'll be going to the county. The county will review and designate whether that's approved or not at the county level. It'll then be part of their package, if it is, which we believe that it would be. And then mid to late 26, that approval will move to the Fed. It actually moves through the state, but that's more of just a train track through there just to get it to the Fed. And then March of 27, we would receive notification. And then mid 27 through 29 is the purchase and reimbursement cycle. So depending on that it really depends on availability and RFPs and all those things. That takes time. Next slide, please. All right, we're almost there. Next steps and questions. As I mentioned, the department will submit the package to the county. We'll wait for approval or denial from the county. And then we anticipate that when we do our annual report, our military use annual report in April, that we'll also be submitting for approval from council to move forward with the acquisition of this technology. At that time, we'll also have a better idea of what technology is available. Just like in any technology space, whether it's computers or otherwise, it is moving so fast. I was in Denver a few weeks ago for IACP conference, and the level of technology from just a year and a half ago when we stood up the other drone program is miles ahead. And so what that exact technology will look like, we don't really know. We have some good idea, but what will be available at that time will remain to be seen. And now I'm available for any questions.
What questions do we have? Councilman
Yeah.
Diaz?
So planned operation won't happen until mid to late 26 if everything goes as requested.
So we would anticipate that we would acquire the equipment in 27, early 27.
Oh, 27?
Yeah, by the
Is
time
that
we...
far?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And tell me, my concept of tethered means it's on a string, but that's not the case here. It just means it's closer to the operational control.
No, it is tethered by a string.
Tethered.
Yeah.
Really?
So it's. I mean, there's a couple different technologies, but basically a wire, a cable, that runs the information up and down, and also provides the power. The height of those can vary. They can go up several hundred feet. So,
but it limits the range, doesn't it?
Correct. So that type of drone is designed for fixed surveillance. So, for example, the Oktoberfest wine, art and wine, those kind of things. At our command post area, we could then put that up into the air. We'd have 360 view of the event for lost children or an incident. We could quickly be able to assess what's happening there.
So you would limit the operation. I guess my question is on that. Would we be operating 24 hours a day with this technology? What's your estimate?
So it would be event or incident based. So if we had, for example, we'll use it from like a regular call of service perspective. If we had a large collision, for example, we could then put that drone up into the air. We wouldn't have to have a pilot physically continuing to pilot it and monitor it. We could put it up through the tether. It could provide surveillance for us. It could take photos. It could map our crime scene or collision scene, those types of things. And at special events, we could deploy it. We'd have it up. We'd have an eye in the sky. So we'd be aware of what's occurring in other parts of the event if we're not there.
Yeah, I can see some really good uses there. And the reason why, another reason for asking is having been involved with the Art and Wine for a number of years, one of the concerns that several of the, I don't know if it was the state or who was worried about it, but after those collisions down in the Garlic Festival,
yes,
we put up barriers, as you know, and what they really wanted to make sure is that we had the ability to stop anybody from, coming through those barriers and, going down Main Street at an accelerated speed and injuring people.
Yes.
So that was one consideration we had to do in our planning. This kind of a thing would really be helpful with something like that, I guess, in the future.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Yes.
Councilmember Tillman.
Okay, so don't laugh, but I have to ask a question. What is a security check? Do you mean like security checkpoints? I don't know what security
gotcha.
checks are.
Sorry. I apologize for using
okay.
vernacular. Yeah. So, for example, if we have a vacant property that we're keeping an eye on,
Okay.
Or a
Understand.
city building, something like that, where we
Okay.
just want to routinely inspect it, check it, that would what we'd be using.
Okay, thank you. And then can you just walk me through and walk us through, why does it have to go through the county if it's a federal grant? And they can deny it? I'm not
Yeah.
clear I understand. I thought that this was a federal grant.
It is, yes.
And we're asking the counties to approve it.
So the way the format of this grant works is the county is the sponsor.
Okay.
So everything regionally goes through the county. The county then submits on behalf of the jurisdictions as the sponsor for that jurisdiction,
Okay.
or for that region.
And what would be the reasons why the county would deny it? Because they have too many requests within the county?
Yeah, so they try to be economical, and they try to, with their quite a bit of experience that they have submitting these, they try to kind of look into the future and say, okay, what do we know based on our experience and us working with the feds, what's going to get approved? So they try to kind of corral that.
Okay.
They've been fantastic partners with us because we've had direct communication with them, and they've given us feedback as we've kind of navigated this. And provided feedback on, maybe tweak this, maybe look at this a little bit differently. So it really is a partnership that we're very thankful for.
Thank you.
I see that it says it's 100% fully funded. That includes all the training.
So it does not, the equipment would be 100% funded.
So you plan on training all the officers and the sergeants?
No, it would not be. So we would have officers and or sergeants that would want to be a part of this,
Okay.
and we would train them. The training is very low lift as far as cost is concerned. So that is something that could be absorbed through our regular training budget.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask the training question too. I was curious about that. But you yourself, Chief, are trained in this technology, right? You said you've used it.
They don't let me handle things that can move faster. No, I'm not personally trained. I did write the operational manual for the previous program. I'm very familiar with the training requirements and platform. There's the FAA certification, which is any pilot is required to do that unless we have our own operational area, which we're not large enough to do that. So we'd fall under the FAA Part 107 regulation. So each pilot would have to be licensed through that. That's a very easy thing to obtain, and it's not expensive at all. And then there's various different types of training programs. Some are free, some are, you pay a little bit through California Post certified trainings. Oftentimes the providers of the drones will provide training as well because they want you to obviously use their equipment. So there's a lot of resources for training. Okay. And then there's also regional partners that do a lot of in-house training. The larger departments operate under a broader, what's called a COI, and they actually have in-house trainers. So we have a lot of resources for providing the training very economically.
Two other things. So there's a tethered drone and then there's a free fly drone. So
Yes.
there are two different pieces of equipment, correct?
Yes.
And I did want to say just one comment, and then I have one other question. At the last mayor's conference, the mayor of San Ramon was just raving about this technology because they've had some retail theft. and the drone, as a first responder, was actually the first responder on the scene, followed the thieves and followed their car until the police could apprehend them. So I think, and also I think with all of our open space and trails and whatnot, I think it's definitely a worthwhile investment. So I just wanted to ask you the cost. I know that the grant is going to cover it, but what is the cost for the equipment?
So we're submitting, I'm probably going to get this number wrong, but it's over $100,000 that we're submitting to invest in the equipment. It's not a cheap technology, and it, just like everything else, continues to get more expensive.
Right.
And we want to make an appropriate investment in the right type of technology. You can get into this space with less money, but what you'll find is that within a couple years you'll be outpaced pretty quick, and you'll need to revamp that. So we want to make it an appropriate purchase that will serve us and the community for a few years before we have to look at revamping that.
Okay, and then my last question, is just in April, you're going to come back to us after the county approves or denies, or before you go to the county?
So we should hear from the county. They won't give us a hard date, but we anticipate at the end of Q1, beginning of Q2, which should be very close to that timeline. So we don't know exactly on which side that will fall. Okay. But we would hope that we would get that before we came before council.
And you'll just need our approval then to say, go for it?
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, I have one final question. Go ahead.
Who handles the maintenance of, once you have the technology and it's approved, what does the maintenance of that look like?
Very low, very minimal.
Oh, okay.
It's literally parts.
Okay.
Yeah, very easy to maintain.
And y'all do that yourselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty straight.
I mean, I don't know if you're handing it to Dennis or Chris to do. I'm just curious.
I won't make a comment on that. But having firsthand experience of once you have the equipment, they're very low maintenance. It was actually surprising to me the level of maintenance required.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
How many units are you going to buy or propose to buy?
So right now we're looking for one. We're anticipating one tethered and one free fly.
So two.
Depending on our award and pricing and what we're looking at, we would like to be able to purchase more than that, but it's all going to come down to availability and price for what we can get.
Okay, because can a tethered one work as a non-tethered one as well?
My understanding is no. It's essentially the same technology, but the interface and its capabilities are a little different. It doesn't fly with battery, so it's designed to fly off the base, so it doesn't have the battery capacity.
What's the power capacity? How long can it operate?
So from what I understand, if it's running from the suitcase directly, it can run for several hours, which is a lot different than a free fly. Free fly right now, the max for most is about 40 minutes on a free fly. Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, Chief, thank you very much for the presentation. I guess at this time we'll see, do we have any public comment on this item? No? I'll close public comment and... Move approval. Okay.
Second.
Do you need approval tonight? No.
No.
Okay, yes, just informational.
Informal.
Yeah, just informal.
Okay.
We take it all back. We'll wait until April for that. Okay, great. Thank you, Chief. Okay, that closes item 5D. We'll move on to reports. Action item 6, and City Manager Chris. You're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few quick things. Happy to report that our beautiful fountain is operational and it was running on Veterans Day. This time we made permanent repairs, not Band-Aid repairs. Performed preventative maintenance. Part of the issues we were running into, we rerouted water lines and moved the switches and a whole bunch of other things that should have been done a long time ago. And I have to give credit to Mr. Bazanich here for taking the lead on that and making sure we got that done right, and ready for Veterans Day. As you know, we have been advertising for Community Services Coordinator, which is a new position. We have over 155 applications. And the reason I share that with you is 5 of them are viable applications. One of the reasons why we're looking later on the agenda for new website software and changing some of our software agreements, we have one person who has applied for this position 20 times because there are no walls, barricades that we can put up to stop it. People can just click, 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 and apply for multiple jobs, which somebody, one of us right now, has to go through each one and score, disqualify, accept. It's time consuming. So that's one of the reasons why we're looking at updating some of our software agreements and what we're doing. After Janessa left, we are also recruiting for the community services leader, and we have some applications there and some viable ones, so that's great. I want to mention, you did get an email earlier, but congratulate Zach Richardson, promoted to senior maintenance worker. He's been here for several years, and Dennis and I are confident in his ability, and we're working on a plan to get him some training, and he's showed some initiative over the last 3 weeks and a desire to go get his pesticide license and kind of continue to grow and learn and really jump in there. So far, very proud of him and happy that we made that decision. And we are now recruiting for his vacant position, which was maintenance worker 2. We're doing it as a flex position, 1 or 2, depending on what we get in terms of applications. So more to come later. The mayor and staff hosted State of the City presentation on November 4th, had some really good positive comments from the folks that attended that evening, received some emails after the fact about what they heard, so that was great. And then yesterday we had the Climate Tech Flip the Switch event, and well attended. Climate Tech was very surprised with the number of people in the room, so that's great. We have been making power for several weeks now, but this was the ceremonial event. And the big question out there is the EV charger. We are waiting for one microchip. Once we get that chip, they will program it, put it in the machine, put the sign up, and we will be EV charging. And then we're also looking at a vegetation screen for the front of the library where the connection, the power connection to the library was installed, trying to make that look a little bit nicer. So we're looking at a veg screen or some sort of option that will still provide access if they need to get in there, but also hide it from general public. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
More cosmetically appropriate.
Pleasing. And hopefully the EV charging, we say within a week. We are hoping.
I'm going to say 2 weeks.
Okay, 2. Let's say 2.
Question of the good city manager.
Yes.
The lights are on and on the EV charging station looking like it's ready to go.
Yes.
But it actually isn't.
It is not.
Okay.
It says coming soon now.
We asked them to put a cover, something over it. That has not happened.
They did put a sign that says
they
coming
did put
soon.
a sign up.
Coming soon. Okay, thank you, Chris. And item 6B is our council reports. You can see those in the packet. And Councilmember Diaz,
Finally got his in. But I want to point out one thing.
Go ahead.
I'm really proud of the fact that I got elected to be the chair of the Operations and Scheduling Committee, which is how the whole system works. So I'm going to be real involved in the day-to-day activities of the buses.
Oh, that's terrific. And just on a side note, I do want to thank you very much for your presentation and speech at Veterans Day ceremony at Todos Santos Plaza. You represented our city well, and thank you for your service. Okay, that closes item 6B. Public hearings, item 7, which we have none. We'll move on to action item 8A. And this is consider adopting Resolution 44-2025, approving the reclassification of the job description of Public Works Director / City Engineer to Public Works Director. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor. This item, if you recall back in May of 25, Council approved the position of Public Works Director and City Engineer. We have gone through multiple recruitments, and they have not been fruitful for a variety of reasons. After the last recruitment failed, I took some time and studied what we really need in this position and what the actual job duties day-to-day are, and determined that it's more important that we have a Public Works Director, not necessarily with a engineering license, so they don't have to have the PE. What we need is focus on maintenance, project management, those types of activities. When we get into the engineering piece of things, it's typically done around development projects, whether it's housing or other development. And what my recommendation is for those projects, that we would select outside firms to bid on those projects and the work that needs to be done. We would then manage those contracts, but those contracts would be paid directly by the developer. So much like things are done now with our current engineer, hiring outside companies to do subcontract work, whether it's geotech or it's the engineer reports for our assessment districts, we would be taking that management piece over and directly hiring those firms to do that work. So kind of cutting out that PE part of it without the need of stamping plans on a regular basis and those types of activities. When we do need something, if it is city related, then we make that decision of hiring a firm and getting that work accomplished. One of the main reasons is when you have a job description that requires the engineering certificate or license, you narrow the field of people who can apply for that position. By offering Public Works Director and not requiring the PE, we're now opening it up to people who have real maintenance experience, that have been superintendents, have been project managers, maybe analysts in the world of public works. So we have a bigger ocean to fish from, if you will. And so that's what our hope is. I'm recommending leaving the salary the way it is, because it is the same work that needs to be done. Because in this city, the primary work is supervising our maintenance crews, really scheduling the work that needs to be done, specifically, the LMD and the enhancements that need to happen there, and put those projects together. And then when we're getting into paving and some of the other project management stuff, that's truly what it is project management, RFPs, contract work, and along with our project manager can assist with the RFPs and some of those contracts and help support the Public Works Director in that regard. So it makes more sense for our city to operate in this manner. And happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, thank you, Chris. What questions do we have? Councilmember Tillman?
Thank you. I just have one that just came to mind as you were describing the role that this person would have and removing the engineering piece. So if you have to hire firms to sign the contracts, how long does that take? So on the timeline of a project happening, when do you engage that firm?
So my preference is at least 10 weeks, if not 3 months. What I would like to do is have some firms on contract so that we are specifically ready. So if we need geotech, we've got a geotech firm. Mm-hmm. They're not on retainer. We're not paying them monthly. We're paying them when we need them, but they're ready to go. Much like we've used Francisco and Associates for our engineering reports. we can directly contract with Francisco and Associates. We know we need to do all of these reports for all of our assessment districts, our GAD, and so forth. So getting those folks just kind of on contract now, there's a number of agencies, Interwest, CSG, Four Leaf, that are out there that we can just do a contract so we're ready to go when those things come up.
And would they, in your experience or opinion, would those types of firms be willing to do that without us having to pay them a monthly fee?
Yes.
Does that make like pay as you go there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, I want to say that I think that's a good, efficient way to operate that. If we don't need a city engineer 100% of the time, only as needed. I think that's an excellent thing. And again, to add on to which Councilmember Tillman just made is the fact that, yeah, there's firms out there that will accept a retainer agreement with no with only a fee when action is required or work is. I think that's a efficient way to do it. Thank you.
So I'm assuming that once we get those firms and then something comes up, they will work on it right away and there won't be a excessive delay?
If staffing is available, yes. I can't guarantee it because I know one company that we were using in the past, they've lost a majority of their staff and they are hurting desperately right now.
Can we put anything in the contract that's as soon as possible or?
Yeah, and typically we'll not, I mean, unless it's an emergency like something collapses, that's a different story. But we know when projects are
coming
down the pipe and we can kind of schedule that out.
And the projects are small.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't
for the
take
most
them
part.
too much time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, it's things like you said, like paving contracts, geological hazard abatement district work, things that are not necessarily emergencies.
Yeah,
So-
like, you know, if we're putting in a length of sidewalk, new sidewalk, we're going to hire somebody to do the design piece. And then our public works director will actually manage the contract piece to have the work done.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? No public comment. I will close public comment. Bring it back to the council. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 44-2025 and all that's included in it.
Because there's a lot.
That's a lot to read.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a first and a second.
Councilmember Diaz? Yes. Councilmember Tillman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Mayor Trupiano?
Yes.
The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted with the vote of 4-0 with Vice Mayor Juan absent.
Thank you, Leticia.
One second.
Oh, yes.
There's 3 resolutions in that action.
Oh.
There's 44, 45, and 46. And he called out 44 specifically, so.
Okay. So 2025. Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I'm looking
Right,
at
'cause
my
it's salary.
attorney.
Yeah.
Does not?
45, 2025, 46, 2025, and 44, 2025. Do you want us to revise our? Yes.
Or just
You can just do
make
a
another-
second
a
motion
second
for
motion.
the additional resolutions.
Okay.
I'll
let's do
make a
that
second
again.
motion for Resolution 45-2025 and for 46-2025.
There you go. Do I have a second?
Yes. Second.
Okay. Let's do this again.
Councilmember Diaz? Yes. Councilmember Tillman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Mayor Trupiano?
Yes.
The vote passes with the vote of 4-0 with Vice Mayor Juan absent.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, and then we'll move on to item 8B, approve and authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Civic Plus for website, American Disabilities Act compliance, and redesign 311 support, online facility rentals, permit, and form handling. Dennis, is this you?
This is me.
Go ahead.
So with the help of Skylar in our office, we've been talking with Civic Plus for many weeks now. And what started as a simple request for them to look at our website to meet ADA compliance requirements for accessibility for visually impaired and hearing impaired. We were woefully out of compliance on the ADA requirements. And there are firms and individuals going around to different jurisdictions and filing civil rights lawsuits for noncompliance with these ADA requirements. The one good thing we have is that we have a .gov extension on our website, which is the gold standard and what's now required under the law. So that's a good thing. But we needed a firm to come in and be able to do that assessment quickly, easily. But we also realized that the website is a bit dated in its appearance. There's a lot of duplication, and it needs significant restructuring in terms of where the information can be found, how it can be accessed by individuals. Civic Plus is also a company that has branched out into many other fields, including agenda management. And so currently we use a company called Granicus and a product called Peak to manage our meetings, agendas, and the broadcasts that we do every week with our various committee meetings and council meetings. But this Civic Plus also offers that service as well in a very, very similar fashion to what we're used to with Granicus, so it won't be a lot of upside, but they'll build that for us. We've had a 311 system that we've never gotten off the ground here. 311 is a technology where people can use their smartphones to identify trees that fall down by trails or tripping hazards at Endeavor Hall or assorted other kinds of things that are out there in the community. Those were rather specific for some people that are in this room. Examples, but that 311 technology geotags the various places that are of concern, potholes and other things, and then they're able to be directly sent to our maintenance staff where they get built into the work plan and then are identified for what day the work will be completed on those, and we track the work on the backside of that, all within the system. We're going to get that technology. We're going to get additional technology that will be able to go in and book reservations for our parks, where people can sit at home in their fuzzy slippers watching a ball game and can sit there and say, oh, Johnny's birthday party is next week. I need to reserve the park for his birthday party. They'll be able to go online and conduct the entire transaction, including providing us the required proof of residency and everything else, all right in the system, and handled very simply and very seamlessly. We'll even take their money from them there. So we're adding e-commerce to the city's website, which is going to be a significant force multiplier for us going forward. I'm going to mention just a couple of other things because I think they're really important. We're also going to get PRA, Public Records Act request management, so that people will be able to file PRAs. They'll be able to receive their PRA response documents back through our system. And then we can keep those and manage those and log them. So when a similar request comes up later, we don't have to do the search all over again. We just simply reply with the same found documents that were there. That's going to be in the Civic Plus system. We're going to have finally mass notifications. If we've got any kind of a natural disaster, it will set up, there's various ways to set up the notification system, but Clayton will be able to notify its residents of what's going on if there's a hazard, if there's something to be concerned about. And so we're going to have that technology through Civic Plus. We're also going to be archiving, and kind of a new requirement under the law is to archive for cities, to archive the social media conversations that happen on all of our websites. We're going to get social media archiving with this contract. So I say all that because I think it's a really important thing. This is a big deal for a small city like us. This is a lot of technology, and we've asked Civic Plus to kind of make a special case study out of us because we think this is going above and beyond what most small cities would do, but I think we're kind of buying the big package. And in doing that, we get to save some money. So we're going to save money on some contracts with NeoGov, with Granicus. Some of those subscriptions go all the way out till next September, which is actually a good thing because the implementation is probably going to be early summer, and this gives us a little transition period. So we're kind of in a good space from that perspective. But by getting rid of those subscriptions and that we have with these existing other software packages and the savings we're going to have from staff time are pretty tremendous. And so I think we're going to come out way ahead on an annualized basis. So what's before you today is a contract with Civic Plus. The initial period is for 2 years. It's $165,000 not to exceed. The current estimates, we would come in at 157 and change, so we've got a little bit of wiggle room there at the end if we needed it, but we don't expect to. They're excited. We're excited. We hope you're excited. Most of all, we really hope Clayton's excited, the community and the residents are excited, because this is really going to be, I think, a big, big difference for the city. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have one. Go ahead.
Okay, who wants to go first? Go ahead.
On the 311, if we have an emergency, will that be one of you guys to say what it is? For example, other communities would have something like, you call the people that want to, the phone calls, and you say, there's been a massive disaster on the east side of town. Please use Clayton Road towards Concord. Please use Pine Hollow, but do not go Marsh Creek.
Yeah. So that's not 311. That is 311 is the maintenance system.
Yeah, right.
The mass notification system, which we did buy, we will be able to do exactly what you're saying. They can communicate via email, via text, or being by phone message.
So that will help a great deal for people that are saying, how do we get out of town? Where's our evacuation route?
Yes.
Now they can all get that on the phone.
Yes. That is correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, with that power comes great responsibility.
Right.
Having done more than a few, having to publish those.
The county has that system.
And I've been in that role many times where I have to evacuate a community.
Right.
Unfortunately. So it's a great power. The other thing it's going to take, and this is key, and so we're going to need your help to get out the word. People are going to have to register to receive those messages.
Right.
We don't just have like a magic Rolodex of everybody, all 11,000 folks here.
Right.
So the magic Rolodex is going to come from this and from a lot of public outreach to build up that Rolodex so that that becomes a highly functional system.
Yes. Councilman Perdiz?
By the way, as a comment, that access for the public, I have some business opportunities or existence down in Coachella Valley, and they've had that for 10 years. In fact, I kept wondering why somebody else didn't bring it up north. Palm Desert and a few other little communities down there have that. So if for example, there were a robbery going on at the Safeway, it would advise people to stay away until the police activity is over.
Yeah. And we're going to have to work out protocols for who gets to press the magic button and all those kinds of things. So I think those are the kinds of things that really will probably be in the role in the police department, especially on anything that involves maybe civil unrest or disaster.
Yeah, but public safety for the general citizen is really the key thing there. Following up on your records request, does this contract include mechanizing all that, copying them, bringing them out of the archives down in the basement?
No.
There's a huge amount of paper.
There is a huge amount of paper. That is going to be the topic of a separate procurement process, RFP, to find a scanning and indexing company that can come in, take the documents that we are required to hold on to, scan and index those so they can be searched using this technology instead of carrying large boxes.
So when this PRA, Public Records Act, request comes through, it may not be able to give you all the information until we get this done. Okay.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, the limitation.
But
Thank
it will track the manual processes that we have to do because of the timelines and the legal requirements that we have. This will help us stay on track with meeting our legally mandated timeframes for notifications, for example.
One question that I have is timeline. So if we approve moving forward on this evening, what do you anticipate the timeline would be? Because there's a lot of pieces to this, obviously, right?
There are. We're looking at 6 months. And so this is not going to be instantaneous. We are beginning in a conversation with them about how can we put some of the technology. The PRA subsystem is a good example that we could actually build a link into our existing site where they could do those submissions now, and then it would merge over into the new layout for what the page is going to look like. So there are some of those kinds of things that we could pull forward and use a link to where ours is going to live, because the systems are more or less flip a switch, plug and play. So we're gonna look at some of those things that would be most advantageous. PRA is probably the one that would be the easiest to do early for us without all the background programming. But we also, in that same time, we've got a lot of stuff to go through and clean up. Yeah. So the current level of documentation for things that we have is going to be needed to be improved dramatically. There is I didn't mention this one technology that we've seen demonstrated, which is pretty amazing. So imagine if you're a homeowner and you want to build a deck in your backyard. This technology has the ability to go in and, using a chat bot, you just simply type in and say, I want to build a deck in my backyard. What do I need to do? And in about 2 seconds, you're going to get a pop-up that's going to have a link to the building permit application. It's going to have the code section that's going to tell you what exactly is needed and what are your limitations in building that deck. It's going to give you the process of who's going to approve it, and it's going to tell you what the fee is at the bottom. So I think those kinds of things, but that means we have to clean up our documents to a point where that chatbot can move that quickly to be able to provide really customized answers to specific questions that our residents have.
But I just have a couple more questions. Yeah, this is pretty transformational for us. I mean, this will not only save money, but time and staffing. I think it's terrific. 2 other questions. So 311 is an app. The notification system, folks will have to opt in to receive those. The website, so will you be coming back to us at all with some, like a draft of what the new website is going to look like, or you're just going to internally take care of it, or they will?
So I think there will be some limited number of design decisions. So if you go to Civic Plus's websites that other jurisdictions have, they have a pretty common template. They all look the same. There's a picture of the city, and there's 4 or 5 little circles going across them. You can go and find whatever city you want to look at. I won't tell you who they are. But if you see those 4 or 5 little circles with information, those are links into the government subsection or the community subsection, for example. That's Civic Plus. So their templates are more or less built, but we can do some things around what are the photographs we want to display? Do we want to have a drone a drone. If we want to have a drone flyover video of the city of Clayton, like flying over downtown, we could have that as a video on the front page. So we're going to have some design decisions like that to make. As we get closer, we'll know more about whether we ought to come back to this body and make those decisions, or do we put something up and then we know we can always change it over time?
Absolutely. There we go. And then my very last question is the specialized IT services. Is that Apex?
No. So that's when we're talking.
Apex stays?
Yes, for now. And we're always, this is just how we're doing business in the city now. We're looking at our contracts. We're putting them out for bid. We're trying to find the best fit at the best price. to deliver services for the residents. And so, the specialized services that's more of a general term for a variety of smaller contracts that we have. So that's not a specific contract, and it's not Apex.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. On the 311, if somebody calls in and says, there's a pothole on my street, and is there a way that they could receive a callback, maybe from the Public Works Department, saying, we have it and we will be taking care of it?
So I'm 99% sure that that's possible, that you would be able to have the opportunity to say, if you're sending it from your text message from your iPhone, do you want us to give you a message back when we've either acknowledging that we've received that or to say, here it's being scheduled?
It's an app, right? You'd get the app on your phone, right?
Well,
Isn't
this
that
is going to operate a little different than the pure 311 app. It's a little bit different technology, but it's very, very similar than the branded 311 app. We use that term a little bit more generally now as a generic term, really, for a variety of technologies that'll do this. We're also looking at whether or not that could be a help with referring code enforcement cases too.
Right.
So that's the other piece of that same subsystem. Can we say, is this a pothole or is this a code? Is it on public property or is it on private property?
Right.
Where's the problem? And then you could perhaps then file those as well.
I think the callers like to know an acknowledgement from a live person that says, we have it and we're going to be working on it.
Yeah, I agreed. And we will enable that technology.
And if it takes 2 or 3 weeks, at least they know that it's on that list to fix.
Agreed. Yep.
Any other questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
Yep. First off, thank you for bringing us into this century. I know that it's a lot of work when staff has to go through papers and pull them out of the filing cabinets, and the filing cabinets are creaking, et cetera. So I know this is about the website and ADA compliance, but it's technology improvements I've been asking for since 2021, so I'm excited. But I do have a question in this contract. It talks about legal support services. What is that? It talks about advanced legal. If a demand letter / lawsuit is received, this is on page 25 of 43, the Audio I team will activate and respond line by line to the letter and provide support throughout the process. Audio I will also fully remediate new validated issues on the site so site owners can show consistent progress and intent to be fully accessible. So this looks like ADA compliance, but...
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to get... the Audio I is their brand name for their ADA compliance check software system.
Okay.
And basically they're warranting the fact that with their system in place, we will always be in compliance and hence would not be subject to, although anybody can sue anybody for anything, as we all know, would not be subject or they and that's where their legal teams, they're going to defend us.
Got it. Thank you. And then you mentioned the Granicus software, and I know that was lobbied hard for the agenda piece and to make that easier. It sounds like from my conversation with Chris today that moving to this and going to YouTube, I think you mentioned, or some other service for video of the meetings. Can you tell us a little bit more about that piece?
Sure. One of the, so Granicus has some challenges. This is my 4th jurisdiction working with that same system. Mm-hmm. And when it works good, it's good. When it doesn't work good, it's bad and hard to use and challenging. And they're constantly, their customer service is great, but we'd rather have uptime rather than having to have another ticket in, right? So one of the things that we're looking at then is using YouTube to broadcast our meetings, to stream our meetings, and to archive our meetings in video. The advantage of that is that if any of our folks are hard of hearing, you can turn on the closed captioning, and YouTube is closed captioned.
Great.
If you are Spanish speaking and you want to hear the audio live translated real time without having a translator in this room, YouTube will do that both on the archive and on the live stream. So that's one of the advantages we're looking at for leveraging YouTube TV, or YouTube, the YouTube channel for the city, sorry. That would really, I think, again, further make us relevant for some of our residents that might have language challenges.
And they've been asking, people were asking for it when we were on Zoom to have closed captioning. And when will that go into effect?
So that will be, so the cool thing there, we probably could go ahead and start working with YouTube and creating a city channel even now with Granicus, so that we begin to build out the library so that transition starts to happen already. I think most of you are aware that the legislature here in California passed this year, and the governor signed a number of reforms to the open meeting laws, and we're going to be looking at having to go back to video public comment around July 1st of 2026. And so the real motivation, and we haven't figured out all the timeframes for that yet, but we're also very cognizant of the fact that that's another element of this. And so things that we can put in place ahead of that July 1st deadline for the state changes, we're going to try to make sure that those happen for us.
Thank you.
Okay. No other questions? Do I have a motion? I thought we did public comment. No? Public comment? No public comment? Okay, I'll close public comment. Technology is good. Okay, do I have a motion? Anybody? A motion?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Let me get the right language. I can't even get real paper right. This is why I shouldn't use it and use my computer. All right, so this is, I'm going to make a motion. Yep, make a motion to approve and authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Civic Plus for website American ADA compliance and redesign, 311 support, online facility rentals, permit and form handling, public PRA request tracking, agenda management, and video streaming for city meetings, for a total contract authorization not to exceed $165,000 over 2 years.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second.
Councilmember Diaz? Yes. Councilmember Tillman?
Aye.
Councilmember Arania?
Yes.
Mayor Trupiano?
Yes.
The ayes have it when the motion is adopted with the vote of 4-0 with Vice Mayor Juan absent.
Okay, great, terrific. All righty, now we will go to our next action item, which is 8C. And Chris, do you want to cue this up, or do you want me to cue it up? Kind of give us a background.
Thank you. So this item is to discuss replacing the current holiday banners. If you remember, we discussed a meeting or so ago about updating the city logo, and though there was no decision made to change the logo, we have some examples of what the current logo looks like and a couple of keeping the logo the same but adding some decorative rings around it so it stands out so that it can be noticed on the holiday banners. So if you want to look at those, and I'll turn it over to the mayor for further discussion. But essentially, thank you for putting those up.
There they are.
Essentially looking at those and letting us know if the minor update to the logo, the one in the middle obviously has the circle pattern, and the one on the right side is more of an oval shape, just so that it stands out. As you can see, our current logo just kind of gets lost in that banner. And so I'll turn it over to the mayor to lead the discussion on how we proceed with this item.
And this is so we can get the banners printed and up before our holidays in the Grove program, hopefully before Thanksgiving even. And again, this is in conjunction with our partnership with CBCA for this event. And we just thought it would be easier to show you the visuals of kind of what we were trying to explain last time, maybe not very effectively, of how our current logo is getting lost. And so I think by putting either a circular or oval-shaped border around it really makes it pop. And then I think we'll have a larger discussion about any permanent updates to the city logo as we redesign the website. I think that can be a discussion for at a later time.
So the
any
actual
questions?
color is on the screen, because
That's
mine in here have white. So they're all blue.
Yeah, that's it. They're all blue. And so we're just showing you current logo, current logo with a circle border, current logo with an oval border.
You know, I like the third one. I like our logo is distinctive from the other logo. One's a circle,
Yeah.
and ours is oval.
Yeah.
I think that's nice.
I like that one too. Any other feedback? Do you have a preference? We are on a bit of a timeline. We do need to get to a printer soon.
Well, you know we're decorating downtown on Saturday.
I know, I know.
So we're going to miss that train.
It's also our walk and talk. Councilmember Chilman or Diaz, any feedback?
I thought we decided we wanted to go with the oval.
Well, we wanted to show you the oval, right? So we went back to the designer. We like the oval? Everybody okay with the oval?
I'm fine with the oval, and I like hearing that this is not going to be a permanent logo change and that will come back to us later. This is strictly for the banners only?
Correct.
And then the only other thing I was going to say is that it is clearer, like the font that is on the circular one is clearer to see. I can't read any of that on I like the look of the oval, but I can't read what that is saying underneath the bottom, if it matters to you.
What is it that you can't read?
The founded and incorporated underneath the city of Clayton. It's
And you know
clearer
what?
in
These
the
are
others.
going to be,
That's
well,
fine.
yeah, they're going to be ginormous on our arteries. And
Okay.
so I don't even know if anybody driving by is going to read founded and incorporated. And these are going to be, you can walk past them in our downtown. So they'd be the smaller, narrower. And we're talking about maybe 5 weeks they're going to be up. So, right, we're really we are really pressed for time at this point. CBCA is also waiting for us to make a decision because they're going to do some street banners with the same artwork with the same logo. So
Y'all can do it. You asked for my feedback. I'm letting you know it's even blowing it up at 300%. It's hard to read. I like the oval.
you like the oval.
Yeah.
I think we all like the oval. That's what we're saying.
I
Yeah.
agree. It's just hard to read. But I'm going to let y'all do what you need to do.
Okay.
I'm not going to stop it.
We're okay with the oval? Okay, great. Do you need a motion? Okay.
Public comment first?
Oh, public comment. Public comment. No public comment. We'll close public comment. And do I have a motion? Councilmember
I'll move
Garcia?
we approve the one with the oval.
Okay. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? I'll second it. Yeah. Thank you.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman?
I'll abstain just because the font issue.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Mayor Trupiano?
Yes.
The ayes have it with the vote of 3-1 and with Councilmember Juan absent. So it's 3-1-1.
Thank you. Okay, that's 8C closed. We'll go on to 8D, discussion of current and ongoing goal for pavement condition, PCI, and additional road maintenance funding options. Dennis, this is you. Okay.
So staff was asked to come back and do some other iterations of what the funding levels would mean for PCI on our road system here in the city of Clayton. So is a pretty brief presentation, but hopefully it sheds some additional light on it for folks, and I'm going to be available to answer any questions. So just a quick reminder that just as a summary, the PCI ranges are kind of from like 85 to 100, which is considered excellent. And there you just do routine maintenance, like you use a street sweeper, you do those kinds of things that clean up after, right? From 70 to 84, which is considered good, which is where our roads are today, is in this category, this range. You're going to do preventative maintenance. When there's a crack, you seal the crack. When there's a pothole, you fill in the pothole, right? Basic kinds of things. So that's what you do there. 55 to 69, which is considered fair. Here you're doing minor rehabilitation. So you're going to take a chunk that's all sunken and kind of caved in on the roadway. Maybe the trucks have kind of worn out a groove, or other heavy vehicles have caused the pavement to crumble and fall apart. You're going to do a big rectangle around that, take up all that old pavement, and you're going to go down with fresh new pavement, roll it out, and get it level with the rest of it, and then repaint the lines, do whatever else you need to do. That's minor rehab. You go lower than that, now you're into poor conditions, now you're doing major rehab. You're having to maybe have to replace gutters and curbs in order to keep the road maintained properly by getting the water off the road. You're going to have to maybe get into that. You're getting into much larger sections where the concrete conditions have gotten far worse. I'll have pictures here in a second, so just to kind of give you that. And then when you're below 25, what you're basically saying there is it's the road has failed. You're back to dirt road again, and you're talking about full reconstruction. So why this is important is it does give us a way to manage pavement and financing of pavement management, some kind of a metric or a tool in order to say, this needs more attention than this, right? It's just kind of being able to make those kinds of strategic high-level choices. And it supports, kind of transparency. You may have heard of communities where they make decisions about what roads get paved based on who lives on those roads. And so I know maybe that never happens in California. Okay, next, we're moving on. All right. So here's some pictures of various kind of examples of PCIs that are out there. The top left, looks like pretty nice road conditions, probably in the 90s. In the middle there, 75, you see the cracks kind of beginning to open up. And then that other top photo on the right there, you're looking at 40 and you see all those, they call them alligator cracks because it looks like the back of an alligator. So that's kind of gnarly. On the bottom row, I thought these were kind of good examples too. 99, that first one, wouldn't we all like to live on that street? I'd like to ride my bike on that street personally. And then in the middle, you get the crack sealing because it's in the 60s. And so now they've gone in and at least sealed the cracks so they don't get larger or become something more significant, as is seen in the example on the bottom right with the 50 PCI, where you see big chunks of pavement have been lifted out of there by traffic just driving back and forth over it. And now you've got a very uneven road surface. So here's kind of the status quo options, and this is what we talked about a couple weeks ago. And I did reach out to our city engineer, Larry Thies, and we had an email dialogue about this. But the PCI in 2024 was 73. And at this rate of funding, it's falling at about 3 to 4 of those index points each year. Some years 3, some years 4, but somewhere in that range. So that would put us now in 25-26 at around 70. And again, this is an average citywide. And I think that's the piece to really kind of keep our thoughts about, is that if we're at 70, that means we do have some roads that are in the 80s. And that means we're going to also have an equal number of lane miles, maybe in the 50s. And so that's just the thing to be aware of, is that when you talk about it being an average, you're going to have that kind of variation within a community. The cost to maintain that status quo of PCI of 70 is now at about 2.8. It's gone up slightly. The cost of, especially emulsions and oil-based, petroleum-based products that go into asphalt have gone up and are continuing to climb. And so that's one of the reasons why we've talked about building in inflation factors, as we've talked about doing any of our revenue options. But on the cost side, we're having to build in these kinds of allowances for inflation and price increases. Our gas tax and return to source funding is a 700, maybe 800. It kind of fluctuates, but it's generally in that range. And then the question became, what would happen, or what would be the result of basically delaying any of the preventative processes and some of the minor rehab work, and we were to fall into a 60 to 65 range. And we would be able to do that. I hesitate to say it, but we'd be able to do that easily. Not the word I want to use, but in 3 to 5 years, we would be in that range if we just continue to do what we're doing now. That's generally where we're headed, and so I think that's the piece to consider, that we're roughly spending that $700,000 or $800,000 that we're getting from Measure J and from RMRA, and so we're spending those dollars. And that's where we're going to get to in 3 to 5 years. So if we wanted to get to 60 and 65 and then stay there so that we didn't continue to have the decline. And remember, this is a community-wide average. We're still going to have roads at 75 and 80, which means we're also going to have some roads in the mid-50s and maybe even at 50. So that's the community-wide average, just to be in mind and keep that in mind. It's probably about just as expensive today, if not probably higher. So we're going to have to actually pay more in the future because of those inflationary issues that I mentioned a moment ago, especially around the price of petroleum products, is going to constantly be our battle. And so we're going to probably have to stay at a funding level above the 700-800, because we know that's going to continue to sink. Well, we're really probably, and I'll show you some examples of this in a minute. The road system will eventually, once you drop into the 60s, now you're getting into those major rehabilitation things where you're having to scrape up big packages of asphalt, take it out and rebuild the roadbed in some cases, recompact it, and then put brand new blacktop on top of that. So that's now you're having to do major rehabilitation just to keep your head above sea level, okay? Just for us to stay there. According to Mr. Thies, PCI would reach 65 in 4 to 5 years, or 60 in 7 to 9 years, and not just the 3 to 5 years. It would accelerate pretty quickly. And you might recall at the last presentation where we talked about that, I had that one chart that kind of looked like you were falling off a waterfall or off a tabletop. There's that graph, and that's a real experience for folks in the pavement management world. So the risk here is that, and I've mentioned a couple times, PCI is a number that's an average across the entire road system in the city. And so if we've got, in order to get to an average of 60, that means we're going to have some stuff in the 80s, and we're going to have some roads in the 50s. And so that's the real risk, I think, going forward for you to consider. Oops. So here's some options that I came up with, and there may be multiple iterations of things in between these. But one of the things that we could do as an option would be to run some different street saver scenarios. It's a software and a service that collects the data and then puts it into an analysis tool that gives you then these price breakdowns based on the observed road conditions. So we could do some different scenarios at $1 million a year new, $1 million new. So the 800, keeping that, now we're talking about 1.8 total per year, or 2.3 million a year, which is 1.5 net new, or 2 million or 2.8 million, with 2 million being net new. So we could do that and then look at the impacts that those additional funds would have at increasing the PCI average across the entire city, which would bring that number up, or at least get it to hold in there. And we could figure out what maybe that balance point is. Again, we're doing that at one point in time, and that number is going to continue to shift just because of the cost increases. So this is an ongoing thing that we would be into. According to Mr. Thies, the price of basically running that analysis would be about $4,000 to be able to run those different scenarios based on the current road conditions. And so I think that seems like a fair estimate to consider for the council if they would like to look at those multiple scenarios. And that's it. I'm open to questions.
Who wants to go first? Councilmember Diaz, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
When describing these various categories or ranges of PCI, from 25 to 100, most of the pictures depicted cracks and asphalt having issues. Question, on Clayton Road, just past Mitchell Canyon, there are some tree roots. I know somebody's addressing them now, but those do not fall in that category. All it does is it raises the asphalt where it becomes a bump every time you go over it.
Yeah.
Where does that fall in the range?
So that would be a minor rehab issue. That's a good example of a minor rehab.
So that's in the 55 to 69.
So, yes, and you might notice on that particular one, it just happens to be on my way home from work every night.
Yeah, everybody hits it.
So one of the things that had happened on that particular location was that it had taken the asphalt off the top. And so what now you were going to do is get water infiltration underneath there. And then with the tree roots pushing it up, that was all going to crumble eventually and fall away. So that was why, Chris and Larry engaged the contractor to go out there, take out the curb and gutter, lower that because it was also getting picked up by the same tree root, and then replace that blacktop.
Okay, so basically you cannot cut the root, I guess, because you'd really damage the tree.
They did, and you can, and they did in that particular case.
Okay.
That's how they were able to get it to basically flatten out.
And our maintenance staff doesn't have the capability to do that. So that's why you've gone to a contract. You've answered
That's
my question.
correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember
It's
Bonilla.
interesting. I just saw an article, and I pulled it up here, done by the Metropolitan Transportation Committee last year, where they identified several Bay Area cities. The average is 67. So we're above average on our roads. The lowest is Vallejo, 44. Okay, the wealthy cities like Piedmont and Los Altos, they're 88. So we're at 70-something. And so the average is 67. So that will last us a couple years. I like that idea of doing that computer thing. However, maybe we can start saving and have an account for saving money towards that stuff, because we're always going to have roads. It's always going to be an issue. The roads I drive in Clayton, and I drive every day, I don't see bad roads. I really don't. And if we continue to patch them, like you said, seal the cracks, I think we can go years and years and years. But in the meantime, we could also save money here and there. And you guys are doing a great job at saving. And we have a $700,000 base. And who knows? We may get more in the future. But that's my thoughts, that looking at this survey, we're not in bad shape.
So I think, comparing ourselves to other communities is one yardstick that we can use. I think listening to our constituencies and understanding what their expectations are is another part of that yardstick of kind of measuring what are people's tolerance level. I mean, I've talked to almost many people in this community, everybody knew about the tree roots that Councilmember Diaz was just talking about. We all knew about it, right? It was kind of like this thing. You either got in the fast lane or you just took your chances with it. So I think those are some of the other kind of community engagement level conversations that could be had around this still. And I think, there's some opportunities there. There is a reserve in the city well in excess of the city council standard. There's some additional resources there if we had to do something. So there are these other options. I think that's important to note. But I think, one of the things that we endeavored to do at the last meeting was, as part of the revenue options discussion, was really to try to think through what are some aspirational goals we want to set for the council, and how do we, then begin to address those. And I think this was designed to maybe go into just that little bit more detail about that aspirational goal. Having ridden my bike in Vallejo and suffered 2 flats and having to call my spouse to come rescue me because I was out of inner tubes in my back, in my under saddlebag, I can testify what 44 does to your bike tires.
That was last year. It's probably lower.
Yeah, this was 3 or 4 years ago, and this was their main drag. This was Sonoma Boulevard. So,
Councilmember Tallman.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing that I was going to say, and I'm looking at page 4 of your slides where you have our status quo options. Cost to maintain status quo with the PCI of 70, which is what you're saying we are now, is $2.8 million, which we'd have to figure out the other 2.1 of that. So I'm saying that for Councilmember Ania, who's saying we're doing better. We're doing better if the average is 67. We're really not, because we're right there, and we need 2.8 to keep status quo at 70, so we don't dip down to the 67, which is the average. That's all. I just wanted to point that out.
I think one of the important things to realize too with Street Saver is it's not an exact science. If we were putting in a new neighborhood with 300 homes and putting in streets and curb and gutter, our PCI would raise the next year without addressing any existing streets.
Yes.
So you always have to look at that and understand that it's not exact. It's not someone evaluating every street. It's this average overlay of everything that we have. So is there some wiggle room on the 70, 73? Yeah, sure. But one of the things Dennis and I have discussed and we're moving forward with is looking at bringing in and spending some funds on helping our streets that are damaged currently. Large cracks. When we don't fill those cracks, you have water intrusion, you just destroy that roadway. So looking at, it doesn't maybe move the needle on the PCI, but it prolongs the life of the road to do pothole filling correctly, doing the crack sealing annually before the wet weather, so that we are protecting our asset and not just going, well, we're going to have to do something soon, investing some money in that preventative piece and doing the minor repairs as we discover them. Is that something we can do in-house? I don't know. We would need equipment, but we're looking at contract in-house. What does that look like and what does that cost, so that we can make our money stretch further and we're not getting into the rehab of total roads.
I think I might have maybe 1 or 2 more questions. So in the photos that you showed, there's a PCI of 75. I see some cracks in that one. And then I see the 60. If 75 was Clayton right now, would you crack seal that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out at what point do you crack seal, since this city chose not to. And I know that there are some streets that we have not done that on. Maybe that's what you're speaking to, Chris, is we need to be more proactive about doing that before it rains, because I know that there are some streets and there are some neighbors who have sent in emails complaining about the lack of doing anything, and they're wondering why. They don't understand why we have to wait 2 years to address the streets. They don't understand how come the ones that are not being addressed are not being crack sealed. I know from when Larry presented to us, he said that it was too large to seal the crack on one particular road.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, what other options do we have then if we're still months off, or if that street's not on the agenda?
Well, and I think in looking at those pictures, the PCI of 60, you see all those cracks have been sealed.
Yes.
So that 60 on that specific road is going to maintain for much longer and not deplete down into a 50 in the next year or two because of that maintenance. And that's what we're talking about doing.
No, I know what crack sealing looks like. I guess what I'm asking is if a road is too, if the crack is too wide to be crack sealed, what other option do we have if it's not going to be rehabilitated in some fashion when their street comes up? What else do we do?
So you can take out a smaller strip around it, make a larger area so the patching material stay in there.
Okay.
And then you roll it out. Yeah, you go a foot wide, and
Okay.
then you really do it. On that point, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., a new bid is going to go up on our website for exactly this.
Okay.
So that's going to be our way to get ahead of it. I'm hoping that we can purchase equipment and going forwards and then train our staff to be able to do this, and so we can catch it even quicker. But in the interim, we're going to go ahead and do a contract with them, and we'll figure out funding, but it'll be some combination of LMD and gas tax money that we'll utilize for that. Yeah. So, and we'll come out with more specifics as time goes on when I get those contract responses back.
Go ahead, Councilmember Diaz.
I just want to amplify on what City Manager mentioned. It wasn't too long ago, 5 to 7 years ago, we may have falsely reassured ourselves when Oakhurst was new. We were well above 80 in terms of the PCI, and now everything's starting to get a lot of use, and so it was a false sense of security, if you will, that we touted the fact that we had the best, roads in the county.
So I have a little bit of a different take on this, and I did discuss some of this with Dennis and Chris over the last couple days. I feel like we're falling pretty fast. We went from an 85 9 years ago, and we're now at a 70. And if we're looking at 3 to 4 points a year, we could be looking at even more expensive roads and road repair in the coming years, not the $2 million or so that we're setting aside. And so I just want to throw this out there. I know we're not going to make any final decisions this evening, but kind of in a broader sense, I would like us to think about maybe using some of those reserves and what our revenue options will be, and maybe front-loading some of this paving work ahead of time so that we save on costs associated with labor and supplies, and kind of get us back up to a PCI I think that we can all live with. Maybe you're happy in the 60s. I'm starting to get worried when we start getting into the 60s, like how much more expensive could it be? And one of the ideas that I explored with Dennis and Chris is there a way, if we have a guaranteed source of revenue, like a sales tax measure or something like that, could we borrow money at a low interest? Could we float a bond and really get ourselves back up to a certain level that not only we can live with, we can be proud of, we can front load some of the costs? So, Dennis, I'm probably not saying it exactly the way we talked about it, but if you want to weigh in on that as a potential option.
So it is an option. It's kind of like the go big or go home option. And it's the idea that you would accumulate a number of projects to, let's say, equal $20 or $25 million. And then you go out and borrow money from somebody. And in this case, there's kind of the two options. The bank option, which now with interest rates on loans, you're probably paying 6% or so. You might be able to get a little discount, but not much. The other option is the bond option. And those, in both cases, you have to have a dedicated source of revenue to pay that. Otherwise, nobody's going to buy your bonds. Nobody's going to offer you a loan. It's just like at home. And so from that perspective, we would have to have additional revenue because there's no there. I think we've shown that in the current budget, and there won't be enough to pay on either a bond payment or, and then you also have to pay to defease the bond at the end, and that's a big chunk of money at the end too. But the long story short is that is another way. It's the big go big or go home. And what it does is it would change the PCI dramatically because you would do $25 million worth of projects in maybe a 3 or 4 year span, whatever the project plan would be. And you would have a contractor here. You're probably going to get a little bit break on price because they're not having to come out and do a bunch of little projects. They're doing more big projects. I think we need to look at it a little bit. My cautionary thing here would be, is there $25 million worth of projects, to do? I don't know if we could accumulate that number where it would actually be financially prudent. There's no sense of digging up a road, frankly, that's a 70 and putting a new pavement, right? And I just don't know if there's enough there to get to that point. But it is an option that we could explore. Of course, we need the additional revenue to make the debt service.
And it wouldn't have to be $25 million. You're saying $25 million or $20 million. Maybe it's $10 million, right? And it kind of gets us back up to, I looked at what Arinda did, and I would encourage anybody to look on their website. They have a plan. They did float a bond. I think it was a $20 million bond. Maybe even more than one bond, and they kind of have a 5-step approach. Anyway, just a thought as another option rather than, and maybe we would get along fine by patching and filling and sealing, but it's been a pretty dramatic decrease in the PCI in the last 9 years. So.
If I could, when you're talking about the loan or the bond piece, the two really important things, it comes down to, it's a math equation, right? It's determining what we need to do on our current streets and how many streets can we slurry seal, because we know if we can get to those streets that are in the 70s, high 70s, and you can put a straight slurry on them, it's cheapest road maintenance you can do. Then you have your cape seals and so on and so forth. But determining what the scope of work is and what does that number become, and then whatever the interest rate is, whatever the costs of the bond are, do you make that up because maybe you're doing 15 years of work in 2 years, so you're avoiding the inflationary costs of 3 to 5% a year for labor, petroleum products. You're saving on the mobilization fees that we pay when they bring all the equipment in and then bring the equipment out. You're saving that on an annual basis. So does that outweigh the interest costs or the costs of doing the bond? We don't know. It's kind of a big science experiment to kind of put it all together. What's the scope? What are the costs? What are the loan rates, loan lengths, all of those things to determine, yes, it's the best way to spend our money, and it very well could be, versus year over year doing smaller projects. So there's a lot of work to kind of get to that decision point.
Okay. And I also think Larry Thies, our engineer, if memory serves me, was the Public Works Director in Orinda. I don't know if he was there when they floated that bond. He might have some intimate experience with how that went. And I know it was important to them at the time. I think their roads had slipped into the 50s, and they just said, not acceptable. We want to do something to, and I think they're like 85 now. I don't know if they're on that list. Yeah. Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll open it up for public comment. And now, yes, we do have Ms. Kindorf. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello there. Good evening, everyone. I wasn't planning on speaking, but this has got my mind going. It seems that we recently, like within the last year, have a very extensive analysis of every single street that Larry did. Is that okay? I know this isn't question and answer, so I'll try not to ask questions. Anyway, so we had that analysis of all the streets. I live on the worst one, and I'm just hoping that what you voted on, I know it took numerous meetings to vote on a list of streets that are getting repaired, and I think mine's going down to dirt road and coming back. So anyway, I just wanted to check on that because we do have a lot of information, and I know there was a ton of discussion. So I don't know how much will be built upon that basis. And I mean, I just hope that this can be, like I said, built upon that and not sort of starting over again. And what was my other thought? And I would agree that to let them keep slipping is just sort of a dangerous place to be if we can come up with that funding to bring them up and keep them up, because obviously right now, I mean, it's a good overall, but like we said, with the building of Oakhurst, that just brought everything up, and there's a lot of places that have been here much longer, and so we want to make sure we keep that even and not get I think my road's in the 30s. So anyway, but thank you for that, and I look forward to more discussion, but hopefully building upon those many, many meetings that we had with Larry that gave us a lot of information. Okay. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Kindorf. And we did already determine what we're doing for paving for 2026. El Portal, is that yes. That was our number one priority. That's our $2.4 million project for next year.
I'm shaking my head. I don't really know what the price on that particular one is.
I think it was 2.4.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
But I think what we're really talking about, and I appreciate the comments, is the capital improvement plan is a lot of work, right? And a lot of discussion went into that. I think I maybe came right after all of that had happened. Imagine now a capital improvement plan on steroids, a 10-year capital improvement plan, or a 5 or a 7-year capital improvement plan. That's really what we're talking about with what you would need to do to figure out how much money to go borrow or sell in, to get bonds proceeds from. So that's that. Imagine that process even larger and more specific. So,
okay. Well, thank you. I know we're a city without debt. We do have a healthy reserve, but we do have limited revenue sources. So I know that in our next meeting, we're going to be talking about maybe finalizing our revenue options. So you don't need an action from us tonight.
Well,
Just
I'd like to have staff look at that street server consultant to do that.
we did just do that, though, right, with Larry?
I think it's
that
different.
was.
I thought he did analysis for us
Yeah.
on Street Saver with different breakdowns. I
He
feel like
did.
he just did
He
this.
did that.
In the spring.
I think that may be true. Let me go back and double check with him and see what he was imagining would be different in the $4,000 with that
Yeah.
$4,000 estimate. I'm
That'd be
kind of
great.
curious now that since he
Yeah.
had done that extensive process with y'all.
Yeah.
I just remember he
And-
kept saying, "I got to go back. I'll go back to Street Smart."
Street Saver, yeah.
Street Saver.
He did. He
Street
did.
Savers.
He
Yeah.
did come back
Yeah.
a couple times,
Yeah.
and then we did also pay the consulting fee for the company in Point Richmond, and it was like March or April. So if you want
Okay.
to look at one of those agendas, Point Richmond, and they gave us really. That's where we got our original analysis from. If you do this, if you want to stay here, you're going to pay this. If you want, to, So I can find you that packet if you need the date. Chris, what are you thinking? What?
No, I was just saying that if we don't have those numbers, if Larry doesn't have them, or they're not relevant at this time for whatever reason, we don't need to bring it back. It's in my authority to sign that contract. We can move it forward quickly.
Absolutely, but I'll get you that date. I think it was in April sometime. Okay, so we'll close item 8D and go to one more action item, 8E.
So there's, even though this was an action item listed, it's not requiring action?
It's not requiring action, correct. It was
Even
informational.
though it's in the action item column?
It was an active discussion.
Should have been a presentation.
I would have never guessed.
Okay.
I felt activated by it.
8E is consider receiving reports on the fiscal year 2024-25 year-end budget status and the fiscal year 2025-26 first quarter budget status, as well as consider adopting Resolution 47-2025 of the City of Clayton approving fiscal year 2025-26 budget revisions. That was a mouthful.
Okay.
Dennis, is that you again?
Yes, this is me. I'm going to go fast. So again, this is an overview. So this is a quarterly report, as well as some recommended or requests for budget revisions. It really is just to provide an update where we ended the end of last fiscal year and where we are so far in the current fiscal year. That's really what I want to do in terms of the budgets, budget statuses. And then I'm going to provide you with a long menu of budget revision requests that will ultimately end up balancing every single one of the city's funds. So that's where we're headed, and I'm going to go fast because it's that time. All right. So 24-25 fiscal year closed on June 30th, just a few months ago. And in the general fund, the good news was we had additional revenue of $715,000. Great news. We had great new additional revenue. The not so great news, we had additional expenses of $784,000. Okay? So not so great news, if at least in my house. So that created this variance for the year of, on net, $68,000. All right, so that's where we ended up. You're going to see in the LMD budget, very close on the revenue side. We're pretty good, meaning Jennifer here is very good at estimating what the revenue is going to be from our various sources. But our expenses were slightly over, but not egregiously so, at $81,000 worth of additional expenses. And then if you look at the other special revenue funds, this is a hard one. I just wanted to show it, but it really is one of these things where this is literally 27 funds all amalgamated into who had additional revenue, who had additional expenses. And what you see here is that on all of those special revenue funds, it came out with a net variance of almost $1.5 million, which is kind of close if you think about it. The $700,000 we got in additional revenue and in the general fund and the $781,000 of additional expenses, that's almost a $1.5 million gap. So what this says is our budgeting could be better, closer, and more accurate. That's our goal for the coming year, is to make the budgets more accurate. And so that's part of why we're here. So if you looked at this graphically, this just shows the variances. So green is good, green's money we're getting in. Red is expenses, red bad. And then you see the net in yellow there. And this is just graphically representing those variances that we saw on the previous slide. Okay. So what were the drivers? On the general fund revenue, the RPTTF came in higher than we had budgeted by about $300,000. That was a pretty big windfall. We had some additional interest revenue and some grant funding that came in. What was under budgeted and so gave us that really large variance on the expenses last year were things like travel. We didn't budget enough in travel. We didn't travel enough in legal services. We didn't budget enough, particularly in other professional services. And these were some of our big contracts for engineering and for planning services that were way, way, way over what we had budgeted for. So that's really, as well as then the maintenance and operation of actually the library building here. And then in the special revenue funds, we got additional revenue in Measure J, and then some significant underspending in HUDA, RMRA, and Measure J, and overspending in the CIP. Now, that's a normal cycle for us because we've taken a 2-year approach to funding those road projects. Sorry to talk about that again now. But, that has been a strategy that Clayton has utilized. So, again, I think people were well aware that that was going to happen. So here's the chart for where we are at the end of September of this year. The green bar here represents our total $6 million general fund budget. If we look at the green bar on the far left, you'll see that we've thus far have only gotten 5.1% of the revenue that we've expected. This is normal for us. This is what happens. The money is not spread out in perfect quarter increments throughout the year. I wish it was. It's not. That blue bar in those graphs represents that 25% mark, okay? So you can see we're woefully under in revenue, and you can see we're considerably over in terms of our expenses. And we'll go into the drivers in a moment, but don't be afraid. This is also what we do here in Clayton, and it's actually a good thing. When you look at the LMD, again, this is a normal cycle. We're not going to get any LMD revenue until the third quarter. We're not even going to have any in the second quarter, really, right? Maybe a smidge. Yeah. No, not until January. But really January, which is the third quarter. And we're managing our expenses there as a result of that. We're being careful. And then the last set of columns for the first quarter of the fiscal year, again, through September 30th, you see, we've barely collected any of our revenue, 7.7%, but we've also kept our expenses down as well at the same time. So that's where we are in the first quarter. Again, nothing really to be frightened by. Some of the variances are really the timing variance on taxes. That's really the biggest thing, and this happens every year. We kind of stash acorns and money at the end of the year to be able to kind of get through this period where we're not getting the big tax revenue checks. Most of it's received in the third and fourth quarter. Our franchise and our rental use fees are actually ahead of pace from what we would have expected, and so that's good. And we'll see if that continues, if that trend continues into the second quarter. The salary and employee benefit costs are at pace or lower. I think that's the really good news. Those are our biggest singular expenses. None of those are contributed. They're part of the 40%, but none of our salaries are anywhere near 40%. Of their spending for the year. So we're all in the 20s. I think we have one that's in the 30% range, but like barely in the 30s. So we're actually in really good place for that. And this is what I mentioned earlier. The reason why we have that 40% expenditure so far when we should maybe be at around 25 to be at par is these prepaid full year for our unfunded actuarial liability with CalPERS. Workers' comp premiums, we benefit from paying those all up front, lump sum, at the beginning of the year. And then we have a huge number of these software subscriptions that also happen to fall in the first quarter of the year. Most of them cycle in August or September, and as we mentioned earlier in earlier action, those will be going away and into a different part of the year, actually, where we'll actually have money. So they can actually help our cash flow a little bit. And then, one thing, and we've talked a lot about this, is we have some significant water leaks at Community Park in particular. And that's really helping us. Our bills are, $90,000 a month water, or by every other month. They're every other month, $90,000 bills. That's a big leak. And so we got to get that under control quickly. LMD, same thing. Expenses are on pace, and we're just waiting for the tax revenue to come in. And then right now, HUDA and RMRA, those are the gas tax monies that we receive. They're a little behind. We're not sure if that's an indication because some of the slowing in the economy, those tax revenues go down because fewer people are driving miles right now because of some of the stuff going on in the economy. And so we're not sure if that's a trend or if that's just a blip. And so we'll know more in the second quarter in a couple months here. And then just the timing variances on all the assessments. They're all exactly the same as we have with the general fund and the LMD. So talking about budget revisions now, I'm going to shift focus. So as you know, we passed the budget on June 3rd, and it was a budget that we worked really hard to get to where we were. And I look at Jennifer because, honestly, I can't do this job without her. And so I just really want to give her a lot of credit and a lot of kudos because it really, she's an invaluable partner in everything we're talking about tonight. And she loves this city. And so she's always looking out for the interests of the city. So I so appreciate her help. But we did the best we could to get a budget that was close. Part of what didn't get really tended to, frankly, in that budget were some of the special revenue funds. We didn't drill down as much in those special revenue funds as we had in the general fund. So there's a lot of revisions here, and that's why you see 66 revisions we need to make in the special revenue funds, and 9 in the LMD, and then 13 in the general fund, working from the bottom of the slide up. And you see there the kind of the net change, both on the revenues as well as the expenses. Other than in the 66 general revenue funds or special revenue funds, those now you're talking, over $500,000 of additional expenses and almost $700,000 in additional revenues that we would recommend you approve tonight. If all these requests were accepted, we would actually end up with all funds being balanced, and that's where we should be. That's where we should be every June, frankly. We should really be working that hard, and part of doing this work now gets us to that place for later this year. We do, and there's a whole list. So all 66, whatever it is, 80-something of these 88, thank you. 88 of the recommendations. They're all listed there with the details on them about what they are, what's moving, where does it come from. You're going to see in some of those that we actually move money from fund balance in to be able to balance the fund. That's what fund balance is there for. It's to be able to do those things when there aren't adequate revenue. Our auditors are in town this week. We asked them this week, hey, there's some funds that we don't really need anymore. What do we need to do to close those down? They're going to give us some guidance on how to do that. So we're going to eliminate some of those funds that are, frankly, no longer viable. They don't have funds. They don't have a purpose anymore, frankly. And so we want to make sure we're following the auditor's advice about how do we close those down correctly. So that's that. So if we were to go forward with the adjustments you have here, this is what the general fund budget would look like. You see that the year-end budget that was adopted in 24-25 had a structural imbalance of $432,000. The one you adopted was right around 130. We were playing with the numbers even at the hearing that day, but it was somewhere around there. But with the budget adjustments in the far right column, what we would actually be doing is having a completely balanced, structurally balanced general fund budget for the city. And then, why did this one come up slot? Oh, let me see. All of a sudden, that one went blank? You have it on yours? Okay. That is really weird. So whatever's in your packet, but basically this one turns out balanced as well. So we're always pretty close to that. No. Yeah, one more. Oh, I'm sorry, several more. Oh, there. That's it. Yeah. So you saw here, if you're following along on your screen or in your papers, year end for last year we were $88,000 out of balance. The adopted budget was 102 for the LMD out of balance, but with the budget the adjustments that we're recommending today, we're going to be completely balanced, and it'll have a fund balance use of $51,000. So I think, pretty reasonable way to get there. And so in summary, I think this is the most important part. In summary, the city's overall financial position remains really sound and stable. We could do this, and we're doing it, and the city can continue to do it, and the council's doing it, and the residents are responding to that. So I think that's a good news story. The Q1 variances for this year are really a timing variance. We're gonna look at in second quarter, but mostly in the third quarter, we're gonna go, wow, look at all that money, yay! And so it really is driven by that. And as I say, we save some money in the summer, and knowing we're gonna get through this dry period in terms of revenue. And really those prepaid costs are the major driver on the expenditure changes. And then all of the budget adjustments are going to basically put all the major funds with actual conditions. So that's the other key part, is that we really did go in and look and scrub those budgets for all the special revenue funds. And we made sure that these were the right decisions to make, not just to get to zero, but they're the right business based on historical precedent, based on a variety of budgeting criteria. And then we can keep those and get those to remain balanced through the end of 2026. Then the plan would be to come back in March and address the 26-27 budgets. Remember, you passed a 2-year budget. So come back and deal with that $740,000 gap that we talked about in June. We're going to work hard March to bring a series of recommended changes to the 26-27 budget in March, so that budget is balanced going into the fiscal year on July 1st of 2026. And with that, I answer any questions.
Okay. What questions do we have? Councilmember Diaz?
Were the salary savings due to the vacant position?
There are salary savings. In a lot of cases, what we have to do is take those salary savings and move them out of salaries and employee benefits, and we put them down into where the contract costs are, because we're still having to do that work by somebody. So it ends up being basically moving it from that one category, one object level, down to the services and supplies.
Okay, and then the final numbers that you display here relative to the final numbers that you display relative to the landscape maintenance district. Where did this number come from that said that we had a reserve or unspent $400,000? Is that still the case?
So what that 432,000 in
right, there
red,
you go. You got more precise.
Yeah. So what that is representing is that's the difference between what we spent in the district and what we took in that district. So we overspent the budget by $432,000.
Yeah.
No, we had a fund balance, correct?
Right.
For
We still have a fund balance.
Okay.
That's a different item. That's a different discussion point.
That's what he's asking about.
Oh, sorry.
I
I'm
believe,
looking at the wrong.
correct?
I was looking at the wrong budget. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong budget. I was looking at the general fund. Yeah.
Okay.
thanks.
Yeah.
See.
I think it was 424.
So which was the 400 you were talking about? So can we go take it from the top again? Now that I can look at the right slide.
Unspent.
It was a beginning fund balance.
Correct.
In the LMD.
Oh yeah, 424,000.
424. Look at me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
It's still there. Is
It's
that
still
what
there.
you're asking?
Still, yeah.
Okay.
Now, we spent down a little bit of that.
Okay.
Okay.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We almost had a little heart attack there. Thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to
Councilmember
say,
Ania.
glad it's going to be balanced. Thank you.
Councilmember Tillman, any questions? Okay. Well, I just want to say it's a yeoman's job. Once again, you are both doing an extraordinary job, Jennifer. Thank you so much. We know there's a lot of hard work, and I feel this is my sense that we're correcting the records once and for all and moving forward in a very positive direction, right? And so I did ask after the last Budget and Audit Committee meeting, what else do you need? Do you need, what do you need? Do you need software? Do you need that? They are confident between the two of them that they're going to have additional improvements and something really solid by March, right? So thank you. I know it's a lot of hard work, but you're cleaning us up once and for all. Is there any public comment? No public comment. Okay, I'll close public comment and bring it back to us. Do you do need an action item on this? Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion that we receive the fiscal year 2024 through 5 year-end balance status, and that we also acknowledge the fiscal year 25-26 first quarter budget status, and we adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clayton approving the fiscal year 25-26 budget revisions.
Okay.
All 88 of them.
All 88 of them. Do I have a second? Anyone want a second? Second the motion?
What are you looking at me for?
I don't know.
What are you looking at me for? I'll second it.
Okay. Councilmember Diaz, thank you for seconding that motion.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman?
Aye.
Councilmember Ania?
Yes.
Mayor Trupriano?
Yes.
The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted with the vote of 4-0 with Vice Mayor Juan absent.
Wonderful. Leticia, thank you. Staff, thank you all very much. And we will adjourn the meeting now at 9:46, and we'll be back again on December 2nd. Thank you.